Kia ora tato. My name is Collin Bjork. I'm a lecturer here at Massey University, and this is a short video about how to upload your journal article for submission to a peer-reviewed academic journal. Okay, so here is the journal that I've targeted for my publication, Philosophy and Rhetoric. I just found it by Googling the philosophy. I read this journal, but I found its website by just Googling the title of the journal. And from the description page, I found the submission page. Now, most academic journals have a very cumbersome editorial manager type interface that deals with all of their submitted articles. It's kind of an auto-generated way of, or an automated way of processing their large influx of documents that they receive. Most of the time, these editorial managers can be a bit clunky, but it's just part of the growing pains of submitting an article to have to navigate these things. Now, you'll see for me it's logged straight into this kind of opening interface. However, you'll notice that you have to always create a name, a username, a password, a specialized login attached to your email address for this particular software service. So be sure to give yourself time to do that. Okay, right now you'll notice I've got one revision that's in review with this journal already. That's a good thing, but I'm going to walk you through the submit a new manuscript thing today. Take a look over here. Most of these proprietary systems have menu items on either the left or the right that have crucial information on them, okay, prior to submitting. Read these and do exactly everything that they say, okay? Double spacing, maximum word count, abstract word count, 150 words. Which kind of style guide are you using, all right? These things are crucial, and you risk your article being straight up desk rejected if you do not follow these rules. So just follow the rules and then let your excellent scholarship push you through the rest of the process, all right? So for me, we're going to click the submit new manuscript. Alrighty. Are you submitting the following? No. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to walk you through. It looks like this is a simple process. It's like you select what are you submitting. I'm submitting an article. You attach a file and you're done. No, it's always way more complicated than that, and that's why I want to walk you through some of these steps. Okay. So you say, what am I submitting? I'm submitting an article. Let's proceed. Okay. Now, you can attach your file, and there are a bunch of rules here. This one doesn't allow you to submit PDFs. You have to make sure that you've anonymized it. Like you should have no references to your name, your you shouldn't say, you can cite yourself, of course, if but you can't say my previous publications and then cite yourself. And be careful not to give it, any other kinds of identifying institutional information. Then you just drag and drop a file there. Hey, it didn't used to always be drag and drop. It used to be a little bit more clunky, but now it's easier. And so you could add your Word document file there. Now, excuse me. Once you've added your file, you then select which file is it that you're uploading. You might submit multiple files. Your manuscript is your main journal article. You might also submit a cover letter. I highly encourage you to write a cover letter. This is where you have an opportunity to write directly to the editor and say why they should publish your article, okay? And the key to writing a great cover letter is connections. You don't want to just say why your original, just talk only about your research. That's what you do not want to do. You want to connect your research to their journal and their readers. So the key thing about a cover letter is not just talking about your own research, but saying how your research is directly connected to the goals, the outline, the mission statement of the journal itself, and to the interests of the readers. In this case, the readers of this journal are both people who study rhetoric and also philosophy. So your cover letter should address both of those groups of readers, okay? So you could submit a cover letter, the actual manuscript. If you have figures and tables, you upload those separately as well, and you upload them all here, okay? Now you'll notice, here's all these other steps that have to be done. I'm not submitting anything right now because I don't have a second article to submit, but you will inevitably be asked to classify your article within a larger system of classifying words. This is sort of like keywords, but you'll get to add your customized keywords later. This is, again, another way of helping people find your research. So it's really, really, really important. Journals have their own kind of auto-generated um, sets of these. So you just select in this case, I get to select, what was it, seven? Select 1 to 7 classifications. So some of these are names of philosophers, some of them are names of classical rhetoric people, some of them are names of methodologies or theoretical paradigms. So flip through, click on these. This will really, really, really help you have your research found and read and then cited by other researchers. You got up to 7. Pick as many as you can, as many as you possibly can. And so you just click them and add it over to this side. Yeah, that's how you work. So submit. Feels very official. Literary theory. That's not what I do, but I just picked it. I'm not obviously going to actually submit this blank manuscript. So then we come to additional information, right? So there's still yet another step, okay? Have you removed all of your identifying information? Yes, you have. What's the word count? Alrighty. You cannot have your manuscript under submission elsewhere, okay? This is stock standard process for academic publication. You submit your original research article to one journal at a time. If you want to submit it to a different journal, you have to officially and formally remove your article from consideration at that one journal. And you usually do this through written means, which can mean officially. Usually they'll have a withdraw button. Within this system, you can also just directly email the editor and say, I'm withdrawing my article and submitting it elsewhere. Thank you for your time. Okay. Has it been published in part or in whole? Okay. You want to, hopefully the answer is no, because if it has been published elsewhere, then this journal is going to be less interested in publishing it unless it's a special case. Does it use the right style guide? Yeah. And then copyright agreement. Now, not everyone does a copyright agreement ahead of time, and this is not a copyright agreement video. So I'm just going to buzz through this, but you have to then say, yes, I agree. You have to write your name and your mailing address so you can send you a complimentary copy of the printed version of the article. Hooray, isn't that nice? Okay, moving on. Comments. If you have any special comments, you can write them here. Okay, I don't usually have any special comments, but maybe if you so this is things not to put here. Don't put acknowledgments because that can give away your identity. Don't put thank you to such and so external funding thing yet here, because again that can give away your identity. I'm not sure what kind of comment information usually comes here, but if you have some extra thing that you want to say, usually this is the place to say it, okay? Then you move on, and here's the big page. So there's more and more steps on here, and they tell you which ones you haven't completed and which ones you have completed. So you have to enter your full title, and look at this, you can actually like stylize things, which is important, okay? Then you have to upload your abstract. And look at this, they even give you writing tips for your abstract, okay? These are actually pretty decent writing tips. So upload your abstract, usually copy and paste it, alrighty. Keywords. Again, use your maximum of keywords. One quick side note here about keywords. Keywords don't have to be single words. They can be phrases, and I highly encourage you to use noun phrases. With keywords, you want to be as specific as possible rather than broad, because if you say finance, for example, you could get picked up in all kinds of possible ways, like not just finance at big banks, but you could get picked up in personal financing in sub-Saharan Africa. You could get picked up in financing moon landings and financing, international money laundering, warfare, who knows what. Like, you want to be as specific as possible rather than broad. So take advantage of keywords. Lastly, authors. This is where you get to write about who is the corresponding author and who is the first author, right? So the first author is, the kind of privileged position. That's a really important position. The corresponding author is the person who is often, if you're working on a team, it's often the private investigator, but not always. It's the person who will be responding and receiving emails from the journal and dialoguing with the editors about the publication process. So this is the person who will manage all of the. It's probably the person who's submitting the article. Okay. In this case, I'm the sole author, so I'm both first author and corresponding author. But in other cases where you're multiple authoring, it's tricky. Okay, you can have one person be first author and another person be and the second author can be the corresponding author. That's fine. Or you can have the first author can be both. It doesn't matter. You can have any possible combination that you can think of. I guarantee you it's been done before. So you do all of that stuff, and then you would hit build PDF for approval. And what this will do is it'll create one massive PDF with all of this information that'll look kind of ugly, but at least it'll be organized in a way that makes it easier for the journal readers to find all the information in the same place every time they read a different manuscript. Okay, so if we go back, for me, if I go back, if I say save and submit later. I have these started ones, but I'm going to trash those. And we go here. And so you can see revisions being processed. This is the one I have under revision right now. You can see I've received correspondence here. So I submitted this in December, okay? And it got assigned an official manuscript number the next day through their auto-generated system. And then was this 4 months later, which is about probably I would say an average time in my field for hear a response. I got feedback from the 2 blind reviewers and the editor, which was very good news, except with final revision. And I can review their feedback here, which is very, very nice. I mean, it's always things to revise. There's always stuff to revise. But you can see the editor's feedback and then the blind reviewers' comments, numbers 1 and 2 here. This information usually gets auto-generated as an email. So actually, I received this as an email in my inbox and got to read their feedback there. The catch is, don't make the mistake of reading the feedback, revising it, and then just replying to the email. That does not count as a submission, okay? When you revise your manuscript, you have to actually go back into the convoluted system and upload it and go through that whole process that I just showed you on the previous page again, and build this whole PDF thingy again. So it's, don't just reply to the email and say, oh, I'm finished my revisions, what do you think? Okay. Close. See how convoluted this is? Like the menus are not even, alrighty. Action links. This is where I wrote my own response. So I took the time to say, hey, thank you for the reviewer's feedback. I really appreciate you taking the time to read it carefully. In addition to your comments, I've been doing some reading, so I added some more sources. Here's exactly how I responded to their feedback, okay? Now, one thing I would not call this, I would put Dr. So-and-so here, whoever's the editor, okay, rather than first name. I've emailed this editor separately, so I felt comfortable doing that. But unless you know the editor, I would use Dear Dr. So-and-so. And then this is a very, very short example of responses to viewer comments. I've seen 4 to 5 single space pages of responses sometimes, okay? That's the long end. This is the short end. So you have to ask someone else in your discipline what's kind of standard. But mainly, you just have to think, does what you say here sufficiently address the concerns that the reviewers noted in the reviewer feedback in this correspondence section, okay? That's all you have to do is sufficiently respond to them in a way that with kind of academic integrity and all that rigor of academia. Okie doke. So that's it. Now what I'm doing is I'm waiting for this to be processed by the editor again, and either he'll come back and say, great, it's been sent off for publication, and it will be a part of this particular issue, and he'll tell me which one and when I can expect it. Or he'll say, can you please make a few more minor changes, and I'll make those minor changes. After the editor sends it off to publication, you're not totally done. You will actually then receive correspondence from the group, whether it's Taylor and Francis or Elsevier, the larger publishing house that does the page proofing and the final processing of the journal article, right? So the editor of the journal is in charge of, that's this guy. The editor of the journal is in charge of the academic content, the original research, and making sure he, along with the blind reviewers, are in charge of making sure that it is quality research. And then after you go through this system entirely, then the content is set, and what needs to happen then is the publishing house, which prints the actual published hard journal as well as the digital copies, has to put all of your text, which is just in a Word document, into the hard-bound journal or into its digital form, and that's where you'll have to deal with with another editor who will be very attuned to issues of grammar and punctuation, and did you cite everybody in the works cited that you cited in the text, and vice versa, all of those kinds of very tedious things. So this is actually a longer video now, but it's a way of showing you how to navigate these kind of convoluted systems. It's a way of showing you actually how much of a long process there is in these submissions, and what to expect along the way. Thanks for watching.